if you have squeaky cranks or hard to spin cranks, or they don't really work as well, what you'll need to do is clean and re-grease your bearings, which we'll be doing today. First, you're going to have to remove the back bolts, not all the way, just so they're loosened off like this. So you can take off your chain, like that. So you can take this one off. It's a bit rusty, but that's okay. Do that. So now, what you're going to do is remove your crank bolts here. All the way. You're going to have to take all of them off, and you'll clean them later. There's one, and you have these tiny washers, and you need to make sure they stay on so nothing else happens. Now the other one. So now I'll be removing the spindle bolt which holds the crank on the axle, and you need to use a 6mm. This is also for the crank bolt which tightens the crank. So you remove these first, and also you need to hold one of the cranks so it doesn't spin around like this, like that. So you need to hold it down. And then you've got to remove the other one. I'm doing both at the same time. And your hands will get dirty, but that's okay. You can always wash your hands with a bit of fairy or something like that. And these are very, very dirty. So now you got those off. To take the crank side off, you have a little hole here on your sprocket, which you need to loosen, which is annoying to do. It's hard to get to sometimes. So take that off. So now what you do, you take any washers and put them in a tiny plastic container so they don't get lost, and you'll clean them later. But first put some WD-40 in there, so they can clean off a bit, and then you take the ones off here, if you've got any, and do the same thing. And that's really it. So you take them away, and now you've got the spindle. Take that out. Very greasy. Oh, and that came out. Okay. So put this also in the tiny plastic container that you had, and put some WD-40. I'll do that in a minute. So you take your spindle and pretty much just clean it with any paper towels, and if you want to degrease it completely, do that. So you put that also in your tiny plastic box. Here are the visible bearings, as you can see, and inside you've got a little spacer. So all you do is get your finger and stick it in there and just push it down, which I have done. And if it's a bit stiff or stubborn, just get an extension lead with a 10mm socket and a hammer and just hammer it down. But if you're going to reuse the bearing, I would suggest using a mallet. So you do that, and what you do is get your 10mm, shove it in there, and if you're going to reuse it, use a mallet so it doesn't damage the bearings, and just keep on hammering it until the bearing falls out. Is it coming up? No. It's not coming out.
5 minutes later.
Around the bearing. Slowly coming out. Oh, that flew a bit. It thought it was Superman. So here you've got the bearing, pretty dirty, pretty nasty. You're going to put that in your little plastic box, and now worry about the other bearing. So what you're going to want to do is take this little guy out, the spacer. You can also want to put that in your plastic box. And now do the other bearing, which is right there.
5 minutes later.
I have to tamp in gently many times. It will eventually come out. There we go. Again, dirty, really dirty. You're also going to put that in your plastic box. And now what you need to do is get a paper towel and wipe the thing. And if there's rust in there, which there shouldn't be, you need to get some WD-40. Once you've taken out the bearings, you're gonna need to clean the inside of the bottom bracket, so it's easy to put the bearings in and it's cleaner. So what you get is a bit of paper towel and WD-40, spray some on there, and then you just start cleaning it. With your finger like that, go around a couple of times. It takes a while. Go on both sides, obviously, so clean it evenly. And if you want, stick it through, come back with the other end, and just keep on cleaning it. And every once in a while, flip the paper towel, WD-40, and do it again. And I think that is clean enough. That should be clean for now. Yep. So now what we're going to do is put grease on the inside of this so the bearing could go on easily. So you get a bit of grease. The thing is, with the grease, you'd be generous, but not too generous, so you don't get grease pouring out and then more dirt getting stuck onto it, and it'll get more dirty and you have to clean it more often. So that is enough grease. You get your bearing, either your new one or your old one, because this one is still in pretty good shape, lasts a bit of time, so I don't have to replace it. Put a bit of grease on the outside of that as well, just in case. So put some grease on there. Not too much, you don't need a lot. And what you'll do is you place your bearing in, hold it so it doesn't fall out, and hammer it in with your mallet. Ow, slowly. And this might take a while, so don't get frustrated too much. You'll get a mallet and also do not use a hammer, it will absolutely wreck your bearing. Once it's been smashed in, make sure it doesn't angle like that, so it won't go in properly and could break the bearing. So you smash it in the middle and around. Until the bearing is fully in, which it is not yet. Is that fully in? No, not yet. I think that is in. That looks pretty in. To me, yes, that is in. Okay. So once this bearing is in, most importantly you need to get this spacer, and you put it in the middle. You need it because it is important to keep the crank straight. So once you put it in there, just leave it in there, and then grease your outer bit here on the outside. We'll do that quickly. Then grease your bearing. Grease the bearing on the outside a bit, not too much, don't be too generous. And then you're going to mallet it in again. Once the bearing is fully in, you're going to get your spindle, get a bit of grease, and put it in the middle. Not too much, only a tiny bit will do. And then you'll put it in, like that, and a bit of grease built up on the outside. So there you go, that's in. Once you've got this, the spindle in, you get these things if you have it, and place it on. Then you get your 2 spacers, or more, how many ever you had, and then you put it on there. And then you get your spacer, you get this thing from the other side, put that on there, nicely. And then you'll get your other spacers for your sprocket. So now you put any grease on the inside of here. That was a bit too much, but that's okay. So get grease, put it all in here, and this is this side, which is not the driver's side. Put that in level. So you get your sprocket and put the little space on here, and you make sure it's in line with a rear cog on the back. So you do that. That's pretty much in line. Make sure that's straight. And then you get your crank, put some grease in it, like I already did, and then make sure it's aligned with the other crank. There we go, so it's like that. You put it like that, and there's a bolt like I previously removed for the sprocket, which is right here. You put that in, you've got to screw that in, otherwise the sprocket will move. Sprocket bolt in, the sprocket's held in tight with the crank. Now you get your spindle bolts and put them in slowly. Put that one in, and then you put the other one in on the other side. So that doesn't have to be all the way. Put the other one in on the other side. And then, once you've done that, tighten the other side. Make sure it's on tight mode on your ratchet. And then you tighten it with a 6mm Allen key. And there's a point where it gets to it where it'll just spin like this. So you need to hold your cranks whilst you're doing it. Otherwise it will move. Gosh. And now you'll put your bolts. Make sure you have your washer in there, otherwise it won't go in very well. Tighten that up, yes. Tighten that one. That's nice and tight, and then you get the other one. Make sure your washer's on there again, and then you put this one on. Make sure it's also nice and tight, otherwise the crank has a chance of coming off. Small. Then tighten these up again, just in case. That one's nice and tight. And this one's nice and tight. So now you've got that. Spins quite nicely. Oops. Put the chain on. Make sure it spins nicely and smoothly. So now that you have greased and removed your bottom bracket, cleaned it and greased it up, there should be no more squeaky noises or anything like that, and it should spin pretty smoothly. Thank you for watching my video today. Hopefully you liked it, so go like and subscribe. I just started my YouTube channel and I'm looking for more subscribers in the future.